Welcome to Meaningful Morning. More aparavidya will not lead to more paravidya. Changing this into English. More knowledge of the finite is not going to lead to more knowledge of the infinite. Infinity you are. If you don't feel this, this is because you have forgotten this. Infinity has not changed. You have forgotten this. Paravidya, or infinite knowledge, is how to remember infinity you are so that you feel infinity you are. When we accept aparavidya does not equate to paravidya, we will change our lifestyle. What time we sleep, whom we interact with, what we invest in. A critical aspect of Sanatana Dharma is sadhana. Sadhana has various meanings like discipline, self-development practices. If one does not engage in sadhana, how can one grow out of the finite and into the infinite? A powerful sadhana, I will go to the extent of sharing a mandatory sadhana for every one of us, is swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is getting to know swa, your inner world. Lots of you were at our recent young adults and evolving adults retreat. What was the phrase I used for swadhyaya? Please share in the chat. Date yourself. Good. Swadhyaya is dating yourself. How do you know you're engaged in swadhyaya, dating yourself? Your emotional intelligence increases. You know your mind more, your intellect more, your ego more, and you can adapt mind, intellect, ego. Back in the day, when society was more integrated, everyone engaged in swadhyaya, so they knew their guna. Since they knew their guna, they aligned a karma or a vocation that was best for their guna. And in doing so, they changed their varna. Karma is at the conscious level, guna is at the subconscious level, varna is at the unconscious level. When your guna and karma are aligned, you can change your unconscious. You can change your print. And that's why when you see icons of back in the day of, let's say, a brahmana. A brahmana is one who studies and shares happiness. Back in the day, that brahmana knew his or her guna and aligned his or her karma. So what you saw was what you got. Their implementation was the same as their intention. You're with me. Now, we are in a period of Kali. Kali means speed. Everyone lives in such a fast way, which really means everyone lives in such a busy way. And so, society has become short-term in thinking. short-term in thinking, which means short-term in investing. And that's why people's EQs have become low, because they're prioritizing IQ. Society is investing in pleasure, possession, position, and divesting from peace. So now, if you analyze your own karma, your own vocation, is it the best for you? Is it helping you evolve? I find lots of people who don't like what they do, which naturally is going to cause them to not like who they are. Their implementation, that is what I get to see, and their intention, what only they can see, are not aligned. So that evolution is compromised. Shri Krishna is amazingly clear about how to bring about this integrity. Sattva means integrity. I'm reading some insights from Pujya Swami Chinmayananda. No doubt, disciplining the mind and changing the quality of thoughts are not easy jobs. But to change the type of actions and to discipline our external movements is relatively easy. Change your lifestyle so that slowly your vision changes too. When noble action is undertaken, soon it becomes a habit, and this external habit of discipline tends to discipline the mind. Your habits create your prints. When these are enforced upon the child, it, perhaps, takes them all as varieties of tyranny under which it is compelled to live. In the long run, however, these rules bring about unconsciously a discipline in the minds of the children. This is why I encourage my children to pray, please help us to be responsible. Their responsibilities are going to lead them to infinity. One more thought before I review 16 and get into 17. So much of this chapter is about change. I recently had made a statement about how I observe a lot of people, specifically those who are ritualists, who are so concerned and think about the Navagraha. Nava means 9, Graha means astral bodies. When you go to a mandir, there's so much of oil and seeds, etc., that are given to the Navagraha, which really means you are deeply concerned with your context. Your context is always changing. That's never not going to change. And that's why in the Vivaha that I facilitate, we don't offer our concern for the Navagraha, we offer our concern for Mahakaya. That is another name for Bhagwan, Ganesha. In his round body, this multiverse is contained within that, like the astral bodies. The implication being is invest in your own content. Change your inner world, and your outer world will naturally change too. But if you change your outer world and you only give to that and do nothing for your inner world, living is not going to become easier. When one changes their content, they become more balanced. Okay, I hope that was clear. Shri Krishna shares in verse 16, Satvikam nirmalam phalam. The result of sattvic or quiet actions is nirmala. Mala means impure, nirmala means pure. you will feel more pure. Very powerfully, in the movie Inception, this is factually the best movie ever created in history. You can Google it. The main character is always followed by his wife who had died. And what is her name? Ma. Ma like mala. Mala means impurity, or in his case, vasana. And as soon as he lets go of her, in terms of he accepts that she has died, she stops following him around. Really awesome cinematography. Tu rajaha phalam dukkham. When you engage in an action and your intention is aggressiveness, the result of that is dukkha. Easy in the beginning, hard in the end, like, what was the example I gave you yesterday? Please share in the chat. Not working out in the morning. Yes, but I meant indiscipline. Indiscipline. And finally, tamasaha phalam ajnanam. If you engage in an action with the intention of laziness or tama, the result of that will be ajnana. Ajnana means ignorance or ignoring. I'm going to give you another way to reflect on this. Papa. Papa does mean sin, but the etymology of this word is pati. This protects your ignorance. Papa makes us farther away from who we are. Now, what happens with that is, the less I know who I am, the more I become afraid. Think about it. One of our greatest fears is of the unknown, correct? The more unknown in my life, the more fear. And what is our strategy when we're afraid? We become more extrovert, talk more, buy more. I was recently listening about retail therapy. Buy things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like. Verse 17. Satvat sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobha evacha pramada mohau tamasaha bhavato jnanam evacha. Joy. This first quarter is a famous statement from the Bhagavad Gita. Satvat sanjayate jnanam. These results, that's from the previous verse. What does it feel like? What does it trigger? In the case of sattva, it triggers jnana. It makes yourself more known, and so you feel less afraid. Rajaha, lobha. The result of rajas is you start to feel greedy. In our culture, one of our sadhanas or practices is called Bhuta Yajna, where every day you are to dedicate yourself to animals, which means sacrificing your own pleasure, possession, position. And one of my teachers had shared, we should all be like birds. When you see a bird eating food, quite often it is going back to provide that food to its children. And that's why it's always looking around for food, pecking at food. We should be like a bird in the sense that always looking at how we can help, how we can nourish animals, plants, stones. Those birds only provide for their children when they are factually children, correct? Once they can look after themselves, do you think they still provide for them? What do? We keep providing so much for our children and grandchildren and justify this is what it means to be a family member. That's greed. It is your own insecurity by which you feel these family members are going to make you secure. Next time you see a bird, you check your attachment. Pramada, moha, tamasa, bhavato, ajnana. And the result, the feeling that comes from tamas, pramada, carelessness, moha, confusion, ajnana, one continues to forget that they are infinite. Final thought. The more swadhyaya you engage in, the more your emotional intelligence will increase. The more your emotional intelligence increases, the more you will make self-development or changing your personality a priority. If you are not evolving, I'm hypothesizing it's because you don't know who you are enough. You know lots about other people, perhaps judge them in that regard, but these are all tools to get to know who you are. From inspiration to application, your application was every muhurta, every 3-hour period, what did you get? Sattva, Raja, or Tama. I observed for myself that the result I would get every 3 hours is I would feel more focused. I would feel more focused. So to me, perhaps that I'm engaging in that which is sattvic. Here's your application for the next 10 days. Each day will be different, but this is a 10-day application. I want you to speak to 10 different people about the difference between IQ and EQ. Speak to them about what you understand to be the difference between IQ and EQ. Why I'm choosing 10, because this chapter will be completed in 10 days. This chapter is brilliant and move fast. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Be joy.